right, today we're going to be putting in a new crop. We're putting in some zucchini and some yellow squash. I'm going to show you exactly how I do that. Now, underneath all this mulch are some garden beds. And for all of you who are doing some gardening where it's very hot, very dry, you got to be mulching. And you got to mulch heavily. I'm talking, you know, I see a lot of people put 2 or 3 inches of wood chips or straw down. Your 2 or 3 inches of mulch ain't doing nothing, right? You got to have a minimum of 6 inches. I like to have a foot if I can, but a minimum of 6 inches of mulch, that's where it's at. Just look at those watermelons. Even though those plants are small, look how much mulch I have piled up around them. And there's a good 8 inches. There's a good 8 inches to a foot of mulch on that raised garden bed. And 12 inches of mulch will keep your soil temperatures down 20, 25 degrees. And when you have temperatures hitting 120, you need that. It's early July in a very hot and dry part of Arizona. And I bet I know what a lot of you are asking right now. You're asking, Rob, really, you're gonna put squash in? Ain't they gonna die? Well, the answer is no. And that's because I have them planted underneath some shade cloth, and I use a lot of heavy mulch, and my soil is really good. Now, a lot of people don't understand that you actually can do back-to-back spring, your typical spring crops here where I'm at. I put my spring crops in middle of February to the end of February. They grow, they produce, I harvest, and I take the plants out by this time of the year. Well, not all of them, right? I keep my tomatoes, tomatillo. There's certain plants, my peppers and stuff. There are certain plants I keep going all through the spring and summer into the early fall. But things like zucchini, yellow squash, even melons. I'm gonna try melons this time. I had melons grow, produce. I got the melons off them. I pulled the vines, and I'm gonna start over with some new melons as an experiment to see how that does. But the summer squash, like the zucchini and the yellow squash, we can do back-to-back plantings on them. I'm gonna seed them. They're gonna grow. They're gonna produce, and I'll be pulling them out sometime in October, and that's going to be perfect because it's in October where I like to start putting a lot of my fall and winter crops in. There's my kale tree. I forget who made that comment. I think it was Tom from Whistle Thicket Farmstead. Yep, there it is. My little kale tree. That kale's been in it. That kale is almost a year old. I started that kale from seed all the way back in September last year. That's 10 months. It's not bad. All right, let's pull back this mulch. And let's see. Oh yeah, look at that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little trench. In that trench, I'm going to put 3 seeds, about 3 inches apart. Now what's going to happen is they're going to germinate, they're going to grow. And they're spaced out far enough where I'm going to be able to really see which one's going to be the healthier and better plant. And I'll take the other 2 out. What a lot of people will do is they'll put all 3 seeds together in the same spot. I don't like doing that because immediately those seeds have competition with each other. And you're not really going to have a good sense of which one's going to do the best. So spreading them out this way, they get to grow a little bit. They actually get their first true leaves, and you can really make a good determination of which plant's going to be the better one to keep. Now we're not going to bury these guys in mulch. We're just going to pile this mulch back up around where I put the seeds, pretty much keeping this area exposed. And when we're done seeding, we're actually going to come back with a piece of burlap. All right, same thing here. We're coming down 3 feet from where I just put the other seeds. I'm gonna pull back this mulch and get these guys in. Now, in the past, you guys have seen me put my plants pretty much right on top of each other, plant them very close. The reason I'm not doing that right now is because our monsoon season is right around the corner. So with the monsoon season right around the corner, and with the increase in humidity, the chances of disease setting in increases. So for everyone who's gardening or farming somewhere where it's very humid, if you're putting your plants really close to each other, if you're stacking them right on top of each other, that is a recipe for disaster. You have a very high probability of disease setting in, and once it does, it's going to spread to the rest of the plants like wildfire. So the best course of action is actually spread your plants out far enough to where they can get plenty of circulation and they get plenty of sunlight. And if you do have disease take hold of one of your plants, you have a higher probability of actually containing that disease to that plant, coming up with a treatment plan, and if you can't treat it, you can pull that plant. Now I'm going to cover it with burlap. And why the burlap? Well, it's going to actually help keep the moisture level into the soil. Because remember, right where we have the seeds, there's no mulch on them. Now we're going to give it a drink. All right, let's recap. I got the Black Beauty zucchini there, yellow straight neck right here. Over there, Armenian cucumbers. And the Armenian cucumbers and the butternut squash, those are going to be on the next video. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. Like I mentioned before, the Armenian and the butternut squash seeding, that's going to be on the next video. So make sure you come back and watch that. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed today's content, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to follow me on social media, I got all my social media links in the more detailed box below. And I'll see you guys on my next video.